Hello, welcome to another special Unsourced Wall production. We'll be taking a look at the brand new Netflix animated series, SUPERCROOKS, an adaptation of the Mark Millar, Nacho Vigalondo, and Leinil Yu miniseries of the same name. I did a small video of my first impressions of the series when the trailer came out way back when. You can view at the link down below, but to keep it simple, I wasn't impressed. It seemed like an in-name only adaptation that missed the point of what the comic was, which was a simple, lean, mean, fun take on the Ocean's 11 story, but in a superhero genre. And now the show has finally premiered, so I'm glad to say that I was only like 1% wrong about that. The series actually does adapt the miniseries in the last 4 episodes of a 13-episode season. Yippee. Now you might say that 4 episodes is a good enough runtime for a comic that's only 4 short issues, and I have to counter that that's just small peanuts compared to the movie that Millar and Vigalondo were originally planning on it being, because now the show has like 9 episodes to add and to pad out, and it's that leaves a lot to be desired. The way the show is structured is basically as 3 multi-part arcs full of origins, backstories, build-up, and setup. And let me tell you, in my honest opinion, they really aren't that interesting in the least. The origin aspects are basically a rundown, your basic cliches about getting superpowers as a teen, but with very stilted and awkward writing, both name-dropping the exact Jupiter's Legacy title, despite that only being a title that, we the readers know, because it's a metaphorical one about Zeus, aka Jupiter, and the rest of the gods, aka superheroes, that kind of thing. And also just general meandering coming-of-age tropes. It's that and the learning to be a hero montage / shenanigans that feel more inspired by Millar and Yu's other comic superior than it does SUPERCROOKS. It's a classic example of over-explaining things and giving context that didn't need to have context. In the original comics, Johnny Bolt was a crook, but he was like that wry, roguish crook with a heart of gold, like Han Solo, and that's all you really need to know. We didn't need to get bogged down in how he got a deadbeat dad, or a trashy mom, or got bullied, or is also a failed superhero. It's just BS that eats up time and interest in a simple premise. And to top it all off, to show just how lackluster the writing on this actually was, even while they're trying to explain so much about this simple premise, they still make the baffling choice to have Johnny Bolt's real name be Johnny Bolt, even though that was just his villain name in the comic, and that's just weird. I mean, what a world. But I guess to keep this short, in the end, the problems of this show are the same problems with Jupiter's Legacy, the live-action series. It's that constant need for building things up. I already mentioned the unnecessary origin story BS, but that's just the tip of the iceberg. The show also feels the need to build other stuff up, like what were Johnny's previous heists like? How did the bastard get his henchmen? How did the bastard move to South America? Why did he really like Mondrian painting so much? And also inconsequential things like seeing Johnny meet all of his future and past heist mates. It's odd, and it just retrofits stuff from the comic in weird ways. Like how despite the actual adaptation of SUPERCROOKS not starting until episode 10, it's in episode 2 where we get the first backstory about the bastard that the comic has. Meaning that we have to wait 7 episodes before the backstory even becomes relevant, because we have a bunch of relevant bullshit to get through before then. And the bastard has his own subplot throughout the season, but it works at cross purposes because it ruins all the mystique that the bastard had in the comic. He just shows up, he makes a great impression, and then we see way too much into his personal life to the fact that he's not an imposing villain anymore. He's just a generic villain. He goes from being something that's meant to have a shade of intrigue to just, oh yeah, we know who this guy is. That's it. You're desensitized by the time you get to episode 10, and it's just ridiculous. And it's just multiple things like that are just there for fans of the comic, so they know what's coming, but that serve no actual purpose storytelling wise. And anything that isn't concerned with the above is just there to be direct tie-in to the live-action Jupiter's Legacy show, because it becomes really apparent that this was meant to be an actual spin-off to the live-action show, hinting that Netflix was probably hoping for Jupiter's Legacy to be a multimedia franchise of some kind. Which is funny, given how Netflix announced the other live-action adaptation of SUPERCROOKS that's meant to also directly tie in. I mean, does that mean the anime is going to be retconned immediately? It got retconned before it even came out. That's pathetic. And in the end, you can probably take all the SUPERCROOKS bits scattered throughout the 10-episode mishmash and get an hour-long, relatively faithful adaptation. And that's pitiful. It really is. 3 out of 10, 2 thumbs down. Maybe the live action series that Netflix announced will be less terrible, but I'm not putting my hopes on it, honestly. Anyway, thank you so much for listening. Hope you enjoyed this. Let me know your comments below. What you thought of SUPERCROOKS. If you liked the comic, if you liked the anime, if just your general reviews of it, I would be really interested in seeing those. Anyway, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And yeah, I hope you have a great one out there and have a great holiday weekend. See you again next time.